Amy, let me tell you about a magical place that is so exactly designed to be enclosed space, year-round fun for the whole family that I bet you already know what I'm going to say before I even say the name. Let's say it together on 3. 1, 2, 3. Great Wolf Lodge. You got it, Amy.
My kids loved Great Wolf Lodge when we went. You probably already know that it has a huge indoor water park with a wave pool, lazy river, a bunch of massive water slides. But then your pack can hit the other attractions because, wait, there's more.
Great Wolf Lodge has adventure-packed attractions like Magi Quest, a live-action game kids can play throughout the lodge, plus the Northern Lights Arcade. Spent some quality time there, so your kid who loves the lazy river and your kid who loves fantasy games will both have a great time.
Great Wolf Lodge also offers great dining options and complimentary daily events like nightly dance parties, all under one roof. Unpack the car once and you're settled in to have fun. And with 22 lodges across the country, you're always a short drive away from adventure.
We've both had such great times at Great Wolf Lodge, so bring your pack together at a lodge near you. Learn more at greatwolf.com and strengthen the pack. I'm just going to send them back like glue-eyed zombies for 3 days.
What fresh hell?
Laughing in the face of motherhood.
There is going to be hell to pay.
With Margaret Abels
and Amy Wilson.
Definitely have a cheese stick right after school.
A podcast that solves today's parenting dilemmas
so you don't have to.
You potty trained a generation of children with your catchy tunes.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to What Fresh Hell, Laughing in the Face of Motherhood. This is Margaret.
And this is Amy. Today we're talking about how to make back to school a little bit easier.
But first, back to mailbag.
Mailbag.
We're tightening the margins around here in all ways.
We're getting there. We are getting so much better at this job 10 years in, Amy. Any day now, we're going to be real professional podcasters. Alicia from the Facebook group says, I originally shared about the Power hedge trimmer fun win. Just days after I fixed up my yard with the hedge trimmer, the Google Maps car came through my neighborhood and my house yard looks so good in the new picture. This was for our episode, Things That Seem Hard But Are Not Hard.
Oh, I was like, what was the original share? Okay.
And she was talking about trimming her hedges. And Alicia, congratulations. Although I'm not 100% convinced that trimming hedges is as easy as you make it seem. Although Amy says she did it and was easy.
I couldn't believe it. Just did it. Right. Because I mean, I have like 2 bushes on this tiny little terrace we have that's like the size of your shower. We have these bushes outside that I've just been letting grow wild because I didn't want to pay a landscaper to come in and do them. And finally, we borrowed somebody's hedge trimmer and it took 5 minutes. Yeah, I was shocked.
So everyone,
what a world.
Go look all through Google Maps and see if you can figure out where Alicia lives.
Find the nicest hedges
on
out
the
there.
best trimmed hedges. We
That's
love
right.
this for you.
Congrats.
Amy, back to school. It's one of the problems we have with doing a back to school episode. When does school go back?
I know.
In my mind, school goes back only the day after Labor Day.
The day after Labor Day. That's it. The end. I will hear no other opinions. But yes, at least half the people listening are like, back to school. Right.
We've been doing that forever. I have just recently come back from a little traveling and was shocked to see kids getting on school buses. So
yeah.
I did a little research. PewResearch.org has a handy dandy chart about when kids go back to school in the United States. 1% of school districts go back July 17th through the 28th.
I can't believe that.
Wild stuff.
We're just getting started. I know. It's a bell curve, right? We got outliers on either side.
The fat part of the bell curve, 7th to 11th of August is 23%. 14th to 18th of August, 24%. Fat part of the bell curve seems to be mid-August, which really surprised me.
This is about half of kids are back in school in the United States by August 14th. And 75% are in before August 28th.
Monstrous.
Yeah, not my kids.
But then they are very surprised when my kids are still in school June 24th because they're long out. And then I was visiting a friend in Palo Alto, and I think it was a private school that we passed. They're in school year round. Like they do that year round school and then they take breaks. I was like, I can't deal with this. Just Send kids back to school after Labor Day.
I don't really get it because it's at least a month earlier than we used to do it. And I don't think they get out a month earlier. I think they're just slowly giving kids more school, which I guess I should definitely be on the side of that. I find myself identifying with the kid who wants to,
I believe
go outside and sit
summer,
under a tree.
everybody should recognize, starts on Memorial Day, ends on Labor Day. And that why are we doing school? It should just be done. But I guess for working parents, I definitely understand. When my kids were little, I was like, can you just keep them all year? It's too complicated for me to figure out camps.
I used to skip when my kids were very little because I'd be out of town with them. New York City with little kids is actually fine as long as you can leave sometimes, right? And so I would be out of town with them and I'd miss the Friday from 9 to 10:15, come tour your new classroom and shake hands with your teacher and then leave. I'm like, miss me.
We always go
week.
away the week before Labor Day. It's a family tradition. And we have kids who do sports and they're like, oh, sports practice starts. I'm like, not for my kid. We won't be there. Sorry.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Even as your kids get older, because you were saying it matters less, but it makes the summer shorter. Because if your kids play any kind of sport, they start, at least in the Northeast, 2 weeks beforehand, 2 full weeks of full days of practices.
Yeah,
before
not my
school.
kids. They don't do that. But that's probably why they
do that.
I was like, no, we're not doing it.
We had one fall athlete out of the 3 of them.
I'd rather have family vacation.
It changes. It makes the summer 2 weeks shorter. Anyway, so it's a rolling thing. And that's one example of when it got a little dodgy for us is we had to be back in the city because one kid had 6 hours a day of soccer practice and the other 2 were like, what am I doing here? It was a rolling, cranky, I'm in it right now. Rolling, cranky, uncomfortable. I'm kind of ready to go back, but also not.
So we're going to be talking. I mean, it doesn't matter when your kid goes back to school. I want to come in with a strong hot take.
Okay.
There is a back to school industrial complex that is convincing us all that back to school involves a tremendous amount of preparation and purchasing of items. Back to school, when we were little, you know what back to school involved?
Pack of
one
pencils?
Trip to Woolworths to get a notebook and a what was her name? Lisa French. What was her name? The unicorn trapper keeper.
A trapper keeper, but I don't know
Lisa Franks. There was a name of a woman who made these kind of
cool trapper keepers,
ethereal unicorny designs.
Okay.
And you needed a trapper keeper and a couple of pens and a couple of pencils. And
what do they need now?
I just feel like the back to school industrial complex. I mean, when you go to Target, there are now 7 aisles or an entire section of the store is devoted to back to school. It's just, there's too many options, too many things. We signed up 100 years ago and clearly forgot to cancel it to some school-based fundraiser, I guess, that delivers back to school. The size of the box that arrives is the size of
a coffin,
like a carry-on suitcase. That's the size of it.
Per kid.
Is it
per household or per child? Okay.
And then I have basically a section of my home devoted to the detritus from these boxes that we'll use someday. I just think I want to talk about back to school as a back to one and how to use it effectively for you and how to make things easier while simultaneously rejecting the idea that back to school preparation is something that should involve a week of your life.
Okay.
I'm not interested in it. Back to school industrial complex.
Yeah, the stuff to me is secondary to how hard it is to get out the door, dressed, teeth brushed in the morning when you were just so dishabituated from that. My kid had to get up at 7:30 this week for something, and she couldn't believe it. It was like the middle of the night as far as she was concerned.
Right. And so there are 2 approaches. And I would say I am one team and I want to hear what team you are.
Okay.
And I'm going to make a parallel to potty training. You can potty train an 18-month-old or even a 2-year-old. You can spend a long time potty training a younger kid by doing elimination communication and figuring out symbols and
never leaving the house, right?
Or you can basically, when a kid turns 3, be like, we got a day. Here's how the potty works. And with a neurotypical kid, you can get there over a weekend. And I am team do it in a weekend versus do it earlier. Although when I see younger kids out of diapers, I'm like, that would have been nice, both for the earth and for not having diapers.
No, I have definitely been team. It's almost a little bit weird now. And now I'm going to deal with the pacifier, the potty training, the whatever.
Yeah.
So late that the kid's like, okay. Yes,
Yeah,
I'm
I
on that team
basically,
also.
once I could reason with them, was like, listen, we're not doing diapers anymore. This is how we're doing it. Watch this Elmo video and go. And it
Yeah.
was pretty pain-free and
Yeah,
pretty
for
much
me, it
one
was
weekend.
Bear in the Big Blue House. I'm sure you can find it on YouTube. If we can, I'll put the link in the show notes for this episode. Bear in the Big Blue House, which was a PBS Kids show. Great live action, gentle kids show. They did a potty training episode that I'm telling you, it was like a secret I passed down among my friend group. Your kid just had to watch this show like 3 times and then they were all
They
in.
had
They
it.
couldn't wait. Mm-hmm.
Do you know that super fun inside fun fact? My sister worked on that show for years and years. And
I sure do. I talked to her about it. I'm like, that,
The
you
potty
made a
training
difference in the
episode.
universe, right? You were the change you want to see in the world because you potty trained a generation of children with your catchy tunes.
So the reason I use this metaphor is because I am team. There's lots of, 3 weeks before back to school, start waking your kid up 15 minutes earlier every night, because especially now with teenagers, let me tell you, we are on the 1 a.m. to noon sleep schedule right now. I was just thinking, if I'm going to do the backing up the bedtime thing, we should start.
We should have
I'm just
already.
team take the pain. It's going to be like being jet lagged for
It's
a
good.
week.
I was going to say, it's going to be like a day or two of jet lag.
Yeah.
Shocking. Right. That is why I understand what the schools are doing. They're like, today you're going to come for like an hour and a half and make eye contact and then you're going to leave. It's just to make them do it before you really need them to be able to function and pay attention. I understand.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not rolling the clock back by 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. I mean, if you can make that work, good for you. But yeah, I've never tried that.
I think the way to talk about this is, where are your problem areas? You know, one thing is resetting the family schedule. Okay. This is kind of the first problem area. This is pbs.org has a list of things to get back together for back to school.
Okay.
Reset your family schedule. I say, meh, skip it. I don't care. I'm just going to send them back like glue-eyed zombies for 3 days. And then they're going to be really tired and fall asleep earlier. We're going to have a miserable first week. But I'm not doing the thing where you're moving back the clock 10 minutes a night. Now, my kids are older.
If you have a 4-year-old who recently dropped their nap or something and you're letting them stay up till 11 p.m., there is going to be hell to pay at the post-pickup time for a week or two if you don't start to roll things back.
Yeah,
so.
But even then, I never really did it. But I think it can be a good idea. And I will say, when you have a kid with any kind of neurodivergence who struggles in school, it's harder to be more lackadaisical about this, because a very school-oriented neurotypical kid's bad day may look like dozing off at their desk or being really cranky when they come home. A non-neurotypical kid may look like biting other kids when they're having a bad day. And so your mileage may vary on this.
Sure.
And so here's the thing. Good sleep hygiene is so important for good behavior. And whenever I talk to people who are struggling with their kids and talking to me about it, my number one question is, how many hours of sleep a night are they getting? Because I absolutely believe that sleep is the top of
it makes the
triangle.
sense. Lisa D'Amour has said the same thing for teenagers. She asks that too. When a teenager is just really struggling in school or a lot of anxiety or whatever, if they're getting 4.5 hours of sleep a night, that's just something you have to look at in order to feel your best.
In the summer, we're running around, but my kids are still sleeping very late. You know, I have a kid who I've woken up at noon several times over the summer, a growing kid. But to put a cap on this, here are your sleep facts. Younger children should get between 10 and 13 hours of sleep daily. It's much more than you think. Teens can function well with 8 to 10 hours of sleep.
Okay.
It's still a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot more
sleep.
than it should be. Right. Like 8 is I dream not of, but it's a lot for schools to say your kids should be getting 8 hours a night of sleep, and now they have to be in the bus at 6:50.
Yeah.
And they have 3 hours of homework.
And so although I'm a little bit like tweet about moving it back 5 minutes and I'm a little bit more like, we're just going to throw them at the teachers and make it their problem. I do think that getting kids at least 10 hours of sleep when they're little and at least 8 hours when they're teenagers. And let me tell you, if you've got one of those kids who is growing 6 inches this year, they may need 13 hours of sleep even as a teenager. So I don't mean to say I'm not prioritizing sleep. I'm just saying I don't find the summer count back particularly helpful.
All right. We'll be back with even more ways to make back to school a little easier. Hellions, it's time for some spring cleaning, and I don't just mean the coat closets. Doing your financial spring cleaning can actually be super easy when you let Monarch do your financial spring cleaning for you. One dashboard that gets your entire financial life organized. No more clutter, no more mess, no more logins scattered everywhere, just accounts, investments, property, and more, all in one place. Get your first year of Monarch for half off, just $50 with promo code FRESH. Monarch allows you to look not only at what you've already spent, but also to plan for the future. With Monarch, you can set savings goals, plan for big purchases, and notice spending trends before they become a problem. I can generate cash flow reports that show me what we spent this quarter, this month, what we're probably going to spend next month, and feel prepared, organized, and knowing how to plan for the future. No more surprises and a lot more clarity. Try Monarch. Use code FRESH at monarch.com to get your first year half off at just $50. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code FRESH. My favorite skincare products actually feel more like self-care, like they're so nice to put on and they smell so good that I'm actually happy when I get to that part of my day. And I swear that is how I feel about Osea's anti-aging body balm.
Amy, you are usually the lotions and potions queen on this podcast, but I have to say, hard agree.
Osea's anti-aging body balm is a liquid silk body balm that combines the lasting hydration of a lotion with the firming power of a serum, leaving skin smoother and firmer.
This body balm is clinically tested and designed to deliver visible results you can see and feel.
So we've gotten to use this product for a couple of months now, and I swear I have really noticed firmer and smoother skin, like on the back of my hands. It's like getting a mini spa treatment from head to toe.
Get a spring-worthy glow with clean, clinically tested skincare from Osea. And right now, we have a special discount just for our listeners.
Get 10% off your first order site-wide with code FRESH at OseaMalibu.com.
That's 10% off your first order with code FRESH at OSEAMalibu.com.
All my kids learned to swim when they were little. It was super important to me that they be confident and safe in the water. There was only one problem with that: taking them to swim lessons. I mean, the pools were freezing. There were always cranky adults doing laps right there. And it was definitely not, for any of us, what you would call fun.
Amy, heard. But now there's Goldfish Swim School. Goldfish takes a really thoughtful approach to swim lessons, combining research-based teaching with a warm, kid-friendly environment that actually helps kids thrive in the water.
Every detail at Goldfish is thoughtfully designed to create a golden experience, from shiver-free, warm indoor pools to comfy waiting areas for parents to professionally trained lifeguards on deck.
Goldfish uses an approach called the science of swim play, which combines guided play with proven teaching techniques to help kids learn to swim, build water safety skills, and gain confidence, all at their own pace. Lessons are designed to meet kids exactly where they're at.
If you've been thinking about swim lessons or just wondering where to start, this is a great opportunity. Right now, Goldfish Swim School is offering a waived membership plus your child's first lesson free at participating locations.
Just visit goldfishswimschool.com/free to find a location near you and enroll using promo code FREE.
That's goldfishswimschool.com/free, promo code FREE.
Amy, let's talk about, my least favorite topic, meal planning. I'm going to give a shout out to one of our sponsors. We work with a sponsor called Monarch Money, which is a budgeting software, and we've been using it at my house. Let me tell you, I have been absolutely gobsmacked because it shows you in color what you're basically spending money on. Our restaurant takeout budget and our Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts budget, this is a teenager's thing. I'm just going to say the number blew my mind. And
the pink drinks at Starbucks, right? Like the berry lemonade
drinks.
nonsense.
Oh, while we're let me stop at Starbucks. I'm just going to get a drink, a snack, and a cake pop. Oh, suddenly you're out $20.
Right.
The much stopping in for snacks doesn't seem like a big deal. So for me, I am taking back to school as a huge reset on not what we're eating, hopefully health-wise as well, but stopping spending so much money on the summer. Like, hey, I'm going to stop and get pizza on the way to the pool, just handing out $20 bills to every kid who wants to eat and snack.
Right.
And I realize my kids are older. Even when they were younger, I don't like to cook in the summertime. So let's have dinner at the pool. Let's have dinner at the pizza place on the way home from the beach. My menu planning is about, we need to be eating at home 5 nights a week minimally.
That's your back to one for back to school.
I need to do it. And I think with littler kids, watching the thing of, I'm not a big lunch packer and never was. I don't function well in the mornings. I'm disorganized. I was like, you can just get lunch at school. I like buy the thing where they have a little card and they get school lunch. Kind of checking in, are they eating school lunch or are they eating like Doritos and an ice cream sandwich from the vending machine? Both because it's really not good for them. I'm no pediatrician, but I don't believe that's a nutritionally balanced meal. But also because if you have the majority of your classes in the afternoon, you're really not learning as well. You know,
That's
if you're
right.
having like a sugary breakfast cereal and then having an ice cream sandwich for lunch, you're not feeding the brain.
You can get, if you're interested, the cafeteria will probably send you a printout now that it's like cards and they're beeping and booping for everything. And my two boys, the high school they went to, I would get the printout and it just would be like pizza, empanada smoothie, cookie, pizza, empanada. They just were eating various bread products. And it just occurred to me that the typical school cafeteria, certainly a lot of people doing their best and working hard to feed our kids, right? I just mean that the meal planning, whoever was in charge of this 30 years ago wasn't thinking about protein as a thing that kids needed in the middle of the day. It's all carbs.
Yeah.
And probably a hard-boiled egg, not that your 11-year-old will eat it, will probably help them get through math class better than the cookie. But
yeah, or whatever it is. Is it an energy bar? It's worth doing a little planning. And the PBS article suggests sitting down with kids and having an actual conversation about this. What sounds good for a snack? What kind of things do you find yourself usually eating? Let's look at your class schedule. Okay, your 3 hardest classes are in the morning. So we need to concentrate on a good breakfast. Having those conversations, even with a 5, 6, 7-year-old, I think is useful. And it puts that context for them of, this isn't about diet. This isn't about weight, God knows. But this is about how does it work? I had a kid one year who had lunch at like 1:45 in the afternoon. And so just knowing the food and the schedules, like if you have a kid who has 1:45 lunch, which again, God bless these schools, they're trying to fit hundreds of kids in for lunch.
right.
They need a power bar or a Cliff bar or something in their lunch bag that they can shove in their mouths between classes at some point, or they need a very, very, very full breakfast.
Or like a core power. And if your kids drink like
Yeah,
core
one of
power,
my
like
kids
protein
is so,
shakes.
the teens love core power.
They're good. They're
Z-bars,
like
whatever
$5
works
each,
for your
right.
kid. I think it's smart to sit down and make a plan.
Yeah. And include them, by the way. Like my kids are like, there's nothing to eat after school. And I'm like, okay, what would you be excited? You know, my ears are open. What would you be excited to see when you open the snack pantry after school?
Oh, and I think definitely include them. And like, wow, your lunch is late. I think you're going to be hungry by then. How do we solve these problems
Yeah.
together? Kids should
Yeah.
be involved, I believe, in all of these discussions.
Yeah.
Routines. It's time for our friend the whiteboard to come out, Amy.
Yeah.
What do they think their daily routine should look like? Have them included in the decisions. We have always, since my kids were little, our school routine is they get picked up from school. If they don't have a sport, they come home and they're allowed 1 hour of screens. Talk for a minute, Amy, for those who are just new to joining us about what is it called?
It's after school restraint collapse.
After school restraint
Right.
collapse.
It's, you know what it is. And yes, there's a term for it. It is when you get the kid back in the car seat coming home from preschool. They fall apart because they've worked so hard to hold it together until 2:15. And yeah, come prepared for it. Bring that Z-bar or cheese stick, whatever they told you they were super excited to see after school. Don't talk, hand them a cheese stick and, let them have a snack first and kind of calm down. It's completely healthy and normal, but it's just them falling apart after working really hard for a long time and probably with not quite enough energy to get them through to the end of the day.
Yeah. And from a non-typical kids point of view, a lot of non-neurotypical kids are spending a lot of their day working really hard, like masking or just trying to control behaviors that they know don't fly at school. And they may really come home and fall apart. And I think for all kids, routines, checklists, if you have a non-neurotypical kid, I love a visual schedule, which is just pictures of what the day is going to look like. Kids go from a day that is generally fairly unstructured. We're going to go to the beach, or we're going to play all day, or we're going to go to the museum.
Right.
And
Stay
you're
up
with
until
mom
whenever.
the whole
Right,
time,
right.
or dad, or caregiver, or nana. Then they go into school, at which point things start to feel very overwhelming. So I really like a whiteboard, a visual schedule, something where it says, because you're going to start hearing a lot of like, I can't do the cat box. I have homework. I can't do the thing that I usually do, the chores, because of this. There's still time in the day for everything. But first of all, when you're starting to see the restraint collapse, you're starting to see the tantrums, or you're starting to hear the overwhelm, helping them to say, because I tend to be a little bit like, suck it up, buttercup, it's school when it's not summer fun anymore. But I do think it's actually a better idea to sit down and say, okay, we're going to do the cat box every night at 6:00. It's just easy. You've just finished up. If we do homework, then cat box, then dinner, we can fit everything in, but it's easier if you see it, I think.
I just learned that about habit formation. The quickest way to make sure that you do something that you mean to start doing is to tie it to something you already do every single day. When you put your shoes on, you think of 5 things you're grateful for. I'm making that up, but whatever. That you tie the litter box, for example, to when dinner's over, you put your dish in the dishwasher and then you do the litter box. That you attach it to something that already happens without having to be reminded. When you brush your teeth, you look at your times tables while you're brushing your teeth. Whatever it is, that you tie it to something that's already happening every day without protest.
Yeah, and I know for myself as an adult, I often have the feeling I'm just coming back today from a nice 7-day vacation and a break. I'm just panicked. I'm like, can feel the panic in my body of, I can't get this all done. And I had my yearly physical happened to be this morning and we're getting back to recording. And I just had this feeling of, so I took a half an hour today, actually on the plane. And I texted Amy and I was like, I actually have a doctor that's going to back off. Can we move stuff around? Like, just sitting down and actually looking at the problem, it's like if I moved 2 things around, I wouldn't be like trying to prep the episode while I'm talking to the doctor about what medications I'm taking. You can solve a lot of problems if you just look at them, but you can't solve any problems if you don't look at them.
It makes me think, though, because I felt the same way. We haven't recorded in, I guess it's been a week. It might be 10 days or something. And we're kind of always thinking about the show, but yeah, I got on this morning and I did have this minute of like, do I know how to do this?
Right.
Episode 430, whatever. What do I do? Where does this plug in? And like, it felt a little heightened because we had this time off. And it just makes me think, gosh, I guess they're not just giving us a hard time when they really don't want to get up, when they're exhausted after a day. It is a lot. And they can't be like, you know what, can I just move the math test to next week? Because I really,
they have no agency.
This is too much. They have no agency. And it's going from 0 to 100. And yeah, they're not just being difficult when they're saying this is a lot.
I think that's right. And so while I have a little bit of tweet back to school, guess what? My parents put me on a bus. That was back to school.
Right.
I actually think there are things to make this easier for everybody. One of the PBS tips, which I liked, coordinating with friends before school. So like you're seeing some familiar faces. This can be all ages, but I think especially for young kids, if you've been traveling a lot for the summer or they have been at their camp friends, just getting them used to their friends again. If you are a new parent, and I've done this and I've been on both sides of this, call the teacher and say, can you give me the names of 2 kids in the school and their parents' email address and see if they will get together with you. Even if your kid has already started school, this is a great thing to do this weekend, first week of school. Hey, can we set up a play date? I can think of one time where it's resulted in a lasting friendship. It's not so much I need to meet my best friend forever. It's just someone to wave to in the hallways. It just takes a lot of that. You're walking in cold pressure off.
Yeah, even if it's like you're starting 3rd grade at the school where you also went to 1st grade and 2nd grade, there is something about walking in the first day that would feel awkward if I stopped doing something for 3 months. I just have never really thought about this before, that, yeah, it is hard. It is a big
And believe me,
transition.
It's the kind of hard that we all survived.
Right.
I just got put on a bus. Believe me, my parent did not listen to a podcast and was like, I should check in with them and make a visual schedule.
Right.
We all survived. Also, I think kids can do tough things. And this isn't so tough that if you skip this, your kid will be fine either way.
Right.
It's more to make it easier for you.
Yeah.
Before we finish our part 2, I'm going to run through a couple of checklist things.
Okay.
Health screening is usually tied to back to school. So you're doing your wellness checks, refilling prescriptions, checking in on chronic conditions, eye exam, hearing check, boosters and vaccines. And just a reminder that boosters and vaccines, 3 key points for your boosters and vaccines are kindergarten, 6th grade, and 11th grade. And those should be times where you're really saying, are we up to date? And take it as somebody who's moved 3 times. It's easier now with you youngs because you should have computer records that are following you around. But I had paper printouts and it was hard to keep track of vaccines. If you're overwhelmed in September with back to school, it's a lot.
But it's just like what we were saying before about the times tables. Put them up so they see them while they're brushing your teeth. Just tie this to every September as the kids go back to school. That's when I check in to make sure they're on board with everything they need. It doesn't have to be September 2nd or August 18th. It's just back to school is also the time when you, the parent, check in on these things. You remember to do it.
Absolutely.
Can I add one more thing to this list for the doctor? If your kid gets any kind of, they're allowed to take this medication at school, they're allowed to go to the nurse for this reason, any kind of special accommodations from a doctor, from a pediatrician, those usually expire at the end of the school year. So if you haven't already been thinking about it, this is a good time to re-up that letter for the coming year.
Set it back up. We will be right back with a even more 30,000-foot view on back to school. Amy, when I'm having a good hair day, it usually makes my whole day better. And that's why on every day, I'm taking Nutrafol.
Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement brand. And it's the #1 hair growth supplement brand personally used by dermatologists. Nutrafol's hair growth supplements are peer-reviewed, NSF certified for sport, and clinically tested.
Nutrafol offers multiple formulas for men and women tailored to different life stages and lifestyle factors, so you get support that's actually right for you. Adding Nutrafol to your daily routine is easy. Order online, no prescription needed, with automated deliveries and free shipping to keep you on track.
Let your hair be one less thing to worry about. See visibly thicker, stronger, faster-growing hair in 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol.
For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you visit Nutrafol.com and enter promo code LAUGHING.
That's Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code LAUGHING.
You know that thing where you get an amazing pair of shoes at a really great price and want to tell everyone about it? Yeah, so do we. Here at Designer Shoe Warehouse, we'll give you something to brag about, like the latest styles from brands you love, or the trends everyone's obsessing over, or shoes that make you feel like, well, you. So go ahead, show off a little. Find shoes that get you at prices that get your budget. Head to your DSW store or DSW.com today. DSW, let us surprise you.
And now, the What Fresh Hell podcast presents pretty much every letter you get home regarding your kids' school projects ever.
Dear parents,
great news! It's time for one of our favorite take-home activities of the year, the Class Imagine Your Own Country project.
Remember, this is meant to be a hands-on learning experience for your children, and there should be minimal parental involvement.
Each student must create a full 3D relief map of their country that includes 10 separate landforms rendered realistically. Sand on the beach, water in the lakes.
Don't forget to work to scale. And it goes without saying that a map key must be included.
Are you finding this hard to picture? Don't worry. We've included some of our outstanding country projects from past years.
Isn't it amazing how they look like they were crafted by a team of expertly skilled graphic designers and/or people with advanced cartography and architecture degrees?
Yours should look exactly like this, whether or not your child has any artistic abilities or ideas about scale construction.
Oh, check out this project from 2 years ago. Aren't the made-to-scale skyscrapers made from polymer clay just amazing?
Right now, you're probably thinking, but wait, I don't have a polymer kiln in my house capable of firing at 1200 degrees Fahrenheit.
Well, I guess you'll just have to figure it out, won't you, Mom?
Our expectations for this project are simple. You should have to make the impossible choice between letting your kid do this themselves and ending up with a hot mess that looks nothing like the examples.
Or you and your spouse can make this thing for them. We sure hope at least one of you has a home art studio or wood shop to utilize.
But the most important part of this project is have fun.
Please note, this is mostly directed towards those who think listening to children complain and receiving hot glue gun burns is fun. That may not be you.
This has been pretty much every letter you get home regarding your kids' school projects ever from the What Fresh Hell podcast. when I was thinking about back to school, a lot of the things were like, have these conversations with your kids, which I agree with. And I think the more kids are involved in choosing their food, the more they're going to eat it. I think the more kids are involved in helping make the schedule, the more they're going to clean the cat box. These things work when you involve kids. But I thought it was also useful in a more, we've been there, done that way, to talk a little bit about thinking about some big questions for back to school. Because I think that school is a time where you emphasize very specific things sometimes. And it's a good time to check in with yourself and your spouse about, are your values matching the message as it relates to your kids and their schooling?
Okay.
We've talked to a lot of guests about defining our family values, especially as my kids have gotten older. I'm thinking a lot more about, does the way that we approach school align with our family values? Because I think that school is a place where you can get pulled away from your stated family values quickly. And this is what I'm talking about. Let's say the number one thing on our family values chart is like, we want our kids to be happy and well-adjusted. It's a big family value. But the message sometimes that we're sending to our kids is, you need to get A's and get into a good college. And those may not be compatible family values, at least for all of your children.
This was Jennifer Wallace.
She was talking to us about this.
She writes about achievement culture. So we'll put a link to that in the show notes. And that's exactly the point she makes. You think you're just teaching your kids that they just need to be themselves, but they think that you're putting all this pressure on them to achieve instead of you're just happy to see them every morning, and to really think about that.
The longer I go in this game, the more I think about those issues. All of my friends now have high school kids. And listen, I'm not talking about my friends' kids. I'm not talking about my own kids. I'm talking about high school kids. Start running into mental health issues about stress, issues about peer pressure. And the more I raise kids, the more I think the number one job is not make sure they succeed in school. It's to make sure you are all on the same page about approaching these big problems. And I think that back to school can be a great time to go back to one on these things. How's school going for you? How are you finding it? What are you looking forward to? I'm talking about talking to a 5-year-old. What are you most looking forward to at school? What are you least looking forward to about school? School and mental health, and school and family health, and school and family values are extremely aligned.
I just today was driving, which is a great way to talk to your kids about stuff, right? You're in an enclosed environment with an end in sight and you're not making eye contact. And this kid was telling me, not apropos of this episode, but it's very relevant, that they feel like they are a different person with their summertime friends and in their summertime world than they are at school. And that somebody actually pointed out to them, you seem different at school than you seem here. And so I said, tell me more about that. And so we talked a lot about that and that difference. And does that difference have to exist? And what might you do about that? And just today, that came up for the first time. And I thought, yeah, I probably was a different kid at school than I was with my friends from camp too. And how do you become a confident enough kid to bring the best of you to all your environments? Something to talk about.
Or how do you have a conversation about camp might be a place that attracts more of a niche group of people, let's say theater kids or outdoorsy kids or kids who are all playing the same sport. And it may be a lot easier to feel like your best self when you're with kids who are interested in the same things. Now you're going back to middle school, where a lot of kids care about fashion or having the right kind of cup to drink their water out of, which is not interesting to you, or purchased by your parent, let's just say.
Or they remember the time that you pooped your pants in second grade, and then they're not going to let that go. And you think they're not going to let that go.
Your summer friends don't know about that. And I actually really don't think we're supposed to be solving these problems for our kids. It's just a good time to check in. Maybe your kid, they are a golf prodigy and everyone thinks you are going to PGA or whatever. Are you asking your kid come August, are you interested in doing golf? Sometimes we are going with a flow that we don't realize we're going with. Even if your kid's just always done golf or always done lacrosse or
always done the school
football,
play. Right.
Are you saying, how are you feeling about football this year? Are you looking forward to it? Or just letting your kid know that you do not define them only by their ability to play football, or you do not define them only by their ability to be the most popular kid in class. I struggle with it, and everybody just has a default setting. You can't wake up every single day and reinvent your family. But I do, having just spent a lot of time with friends of mine and their teenagers, it really struck me that back to school is a great time. And if your answer is, it is the most important thing for our family to be close as a family, but we look at our schedule and the one kid has science Olympiad every day and the other kid has football every day, and we're never going to see each other. It doesn't mean, okay, everybody quit your activities. We're going to go live in the trees and live up to our family values. But it might say, like, we really need for the winter break to be a time that we all spend together and put that stuff away for a while. Or as they did in my husband's family when he was younger and everyone had a lot of sports, we're going to make breakfast our family meal of the day so that we all do still sit down. And I just like the idea of approaching back to school as a much bigger back.
Yeah. And I'm sitting here thinking about not assuming that your kid who always does a school play is going to do the school play this fall. And also not assuming that your kid who has never shown interest in sports, there's a new team. Now there's ultimate frisbee. Oh, who do you know is trying out for that? Do you ever think that might be fun? Like, you don't lock them into the things that they've done before, the people they are before, because school does enough of that already. Kids assume that you can't be different in 7th grade than you were in 6th grade.
Yeah. And I think this emphasis on mental health, it is actually the most important thing to watch when our kids go back to school, not their grades, not how good they are at lacrosse. Watch your story about what is the most important thing about your kid going back to school. And I would argue that in every situation, your child's mental health is the most important. It doesn't mean you snowplow stuff out of the way and you can't play football because it's too stressful for you. It just means this is a great time to be checking in about, I noticed that you don't feel that confident at school. Let's just have a conversation about it. Maybe it can't be fixed.
Or maybe their time at football practice is their happiest time of the day and week. And in their highly pressured life, their sports team is their soft place to fall. I guess it's just make sure your kid has a soft place to fall, particularly in these first couple of weeks when it is a lot. It's harder. It doesn't mean, as you said, it doesn't mean it won't be okay and then you have to make it not hard. It just means find ways to be the soft place to fall and have the cheese stick ready right after school.
Definitely have a cheese stick right after school. As we always say, feed the bears. As soon as they come off the bus, feed your kids, because
that's right.
It will avoid a cavalcade of problems. And I think that back to school, it's like Valentine's Day. It's kind of a fake thing in its own way, but it can be a good time to like express love to people on Valentine's Day, if that works for you. And I think using back to school to check in with how things are with your kids, how they're feeling about school and other things, and then using the whiteboard and the meals and the prep to structure that scaffolding so like they have the tools they need to succeed. That's the best you can do for back to school.
No different than like you're getting back to your desk after a week away. It's like, okay, let me write down what I need to do. Let me see it. You and I are alike in that way. Let me engage with the list and the totality of everything I hope to do. And let me figure out when I'm going to do it all. An 8-year-old's going to need some support in that. But it is comforting. So I'm sure it would be comforting for any kid too. And
and to press the metaphor, like I say to you, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm coming back. I've got the doctor. I don't want to be rushing around. Can we move this stuff around? I think making sure that your kid has room to come to you and say, how's it going first week? What are we struggling with? What could we do to make it easier? I'm really tired in the afternoon. Let's adjust the sleep schedule. Let's look at the whiteboard. I think I'm going to double your breakfast tomorrow. Let's see if that helps. Approach it as a problem to solve together, and I think you'll be off to the races. We've all gone back to school for years. It turns out fine.
Right. It's already been solved, but we've solved it again for a new generation. We would absolutely love it if you would take this episode and you would share it right now with somebody you know who's going through it in the back to school. You know what parent is totally overwhelmed right now for whatever reason with the back to school thing. Send him or her or them this episode and just say, hey, I think you'd like this. We'd love if you would do that.
Yeah. In any app you're listening to, there should be a share button. and you just click it and then you can email it to them. You can airdrop
Text
it to
it.
them. You
Yeah,
can message it to them.
Just say,
Allergy.
give me your phone. You should listen to this podcast. That would be nice too.
Love it. And with that, friends, happy back to school, or happy you've already been back to school. And we will talk to you next time.
So long.